So what did you bring all that crap for? What are you going to do with that? Before we continue here, what are you going to? Well, don't do it now, but just tell me what you're going to do. Don't hit me with that either.
No, I'm not going to hit you with that. That's for sure. No, because you'll hit back.
I'd like to welcome everybody to episode, I believe it's number 5 of Rollforming with Ron. Today my guest is
Patrick Foley.
Patrick Foley, Director of Engineering.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, that's him.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what he's done in the past, how he got here, and what he's going to do for us in the future.
So I'm the Director of Engineering. I'm a mechanical engineer. Graduated from North Carolina State University, home of the mighty Wolfpack. Go Pack, go.
Mm-hmm. Did you play ball?
No, didn't play any ball in college.
All right.
But worked for textile companies and log splitter companies that brought me here to Colorado.
So designing equipment for those.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I was doing research and development there, and also window coverings for Hunter Douglas and Levelor.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
So a lot of the hardware systems that raise and lower your shades or tilt your blinds.
So like the powered ones.
Yeah, powered ones or the cordless ones, and then for Levelor, some of the machines that are in Lowe's where they cut
they cut the blinds to size and all that.
Yep. So and then other industries I've worked in, the can making industry.
That one's interesting to me because that's a huge industry, and those machines are incredible, actually.
Oh yeah, the speed that some of them work at is just amazing.
Yeah, amazing in that it can run so fast.
Yeah,
and it has to be so precise, and I mean it's just incredible when you watch one of those things run. For example, how many cans an hour or a day do they make in one of those? Like one machine.
I was focused on the body makers, so that's like the bottom portion of the can.
Yeah.
And it would operate at 350 cans a minute. And then that would feed decorators that would put all the artwork on the can, and those would operate around 2,500 cans a minute.
Wow. That's moving.
Yeah.
A crash would not be good.
No, it's not good.
Okay.
Not good. That wouldn't be good. So.
All right. And then after that?
Joined New Tech Machinery.
Oh, okay.
So learning from you guys.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's been fun learning that aspect of it. At Hunter Douglas and at Levelor, we did a lot of work with rollforming, but that was much smaller. Even the head rails on metal blinds that we called gutter head rails, they're only 2 inches wide and 2 inches tall.
Yeah, different animal.
Yeah. But those would be stationary.
So were you actually you were roll forming those?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So those large stationary machines that we had in Salt Lake City and Mexico. So a lot different than what we're doing here with the portable
I would imagine.
machines.
So you say large machines. So to make a 2 inch by 2 inch U shape is what it would end up being, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
How big is the machine to make that?
I think it was around 18 stations and about 50 feet long.
Whoa.
And so they'd make, like say implant machines, and they'd run them day in, day out.
So what did you bring all that crap for? What are you going to do with that? Before we continue here, what are you going to, well, don't do it now, but just tell me what you're going to do. Don't hit me with that either.
No, I'm not going to hit you with that. That's for sure. No, because you'll hit back. That was some of my props and stuff for innovation and things that we were doing. So like log splitters and listening to folks. I don't know, just that aspect of learning things and making sure that you get people engaged and the diversity aspect of it, getting different viewpoints.
Right. That's huge. That's a big part of engineering and making new stuff is gathering up all the information from all the people and making it into something. I mean, that's basically all it is, really.
Yeah, and problem solving.
Yeah.
And my son's going to school now to be a mechanical engineer.
Where's he going?
He's going to CU Boulder.
Oh, nice.
So he's a Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yep. And so telling him that, that problem solving is a key part of it, and understanding what problems that you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily have to have the answers, because I don't have them. But going somewhere and getting those different viewpoints, experience like you bring to the table, and all of your guests that you've had before me, those resources are essential.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely essential to do what we do here.
Yeah.
It's not just one person; it's a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
And just having those different viewpoints, experiences. The saying that if the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, then all your problems look like nails.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to have different types of hammers.
Yeah, and you brought a few with you, didn't you?
So, my roofing hammer for you.
Well, everybody recognizes that, right?
Yeah. You got your,
that's an old one, though.
Yeah. That's a ball peen. And then, framing hammer.
Yeah.
My best friend Brad gave me that one as a wedding gift, of all things.
That's a heck of a wedding gift.
Yeah.
Huh?
So,
were you building something at that time, or?
We were always working on projects and stuff together. So growing up.
Cool. And I see one big one there.
Oh yeah.
Don't know what's going on with that, but.
Well, we got log splitter. So
that's
a
heavy duty log splitter there, man.
Oh yeah. So that I was thinking about some of the projects and stuff that I've worked on.
Yeah.
And what brought me here to Colorado was a job with company that made log splitters.
Really?
So the hydraulic ones.
Yeah.
And just kind of having the different perspectives on things where, understanding people's different viewpoints and what their experiences are. So if you're in, if I was in 1700s America and I had to split wood faster, I'd probably come up with some ideas like, okay, we'll add a bunch of ribs to that and split one piece of wood into 6-8 pieces with each swing.
Right.
Of course, that's a dumb idea because that's like 60 pounds. Yeah, there's no way that I could come up with, in 1700s, an idea to have a firewood processor mounted to a skid steer with a 30-inch chainsaw coming down and 150 horsepower of turbo diesel energy going through it.
Yeah.
Because you would never see anything like that.
Right.
But so being able to...
That's just transition. I mean, this is technology.
Yeah.
Right? So we went from this to log splitters to whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
So as we evolve, and it's getting those different viewpoints and things that other people have seen.
Sure. It's just like the roll forming industry. If you go back into the New England and go overseas even, people are making gutters out of wood, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bending roof panels with by hand, really. A pair of tongs and just bend them up in pieces. So that's all evolved into what we see today through, people's thoughts and engineering processes, and that's just how it transpires. But
that's what we want to do, is take that and develop it further.
Yeah.
And I think we got a great team here
absolutely.
to do that.
Yeah. We have new engineers throughout here, really. There's only one that's been here for a good amount of time. That would be Adam.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited with you and the other guys that are here now. You bring a lot of new stuff to the table.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for this company. You know, you get different set of eyes looking at different thoughts, and you know, you bring all the experience that you've had in the past and the other guys, and we'll turn that into something good.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've recently come out with a new WAV panel machine, and I know you guys have been doing some things to help improve that. So why don't we talk about that a little bit, see where you're going with that.
Yeah, the WAV is a great machine. Adam had worked on some years before I started here, and it's a great machine. We have a variable frequency drive control on it. It produces a panel with a minimal amount of changeovers or tooling changes. You've got options for the 16.4, the 12.1, those panels, the 8.1. You can run aluminum, you can run steel in it. It's a great machine, and what we've worked on over the past 6 months or so has been helping to improve our consistency in that machine. It's a faster machine than our others, with speeds up to 150 feet per minute.
That's the variable speed.
Yeah, the variable speed helps with that. Also allows you to slow it down and control the stops and starts, so that you can operate it in a jog mode or at different speeds, so that you can handle the panels.
Right, and I think that's the very first machine that we've ever done that on. So it's really new technology for us, basically. But I think it's been well received out there. We've sold quite a few of those things. Yeah,
it's been operating really well, and we're preparing more for higher production rates. And it's a custom machine, but it's one that we're standardizing.
So you're also designing a new base for it, are you not?
Yeah, for implant applications.
Yeah.
To focus, at speeds of 150 feet per minute, it's kind of hard to handle out at the job site. So a lot of what we're looking to do is optimize it for implant use. So having a new sturdy base for it.
Right.
We're looking at options for different power options, electric only, gasoline only, and then we also have the combination with one machine that has both gas and electric on it at the same time, which is also
that's again. Yeah, I was just going to say that's a first in this industry. I don't think anybody's done anything like that. So, yeah, those are the kind of things we do here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about projects that you guys might be doing that are geared towards helping our customers.
One that we're currently working on right now is with the SSQ2 and notching, and we're working to develop better software for that that's more accurate, as well as there's a lot of things going on with that machine at the same time. As you notch a panel at the entrance to it, form the panel, and then at the exit, you shear that panel to the exact length that you want. And with the notching system, with the cover sensors for safety, there's a lot of different things that can cause the machine to stop. And we were making sure that in the software, that you know how to recover from that the software helps you recover through that with unique automatic control
Like if it
panel.
would stop arbitrarily, you'd have a way of working around that and get back to square one or finishing that panel.
And finishing the job.
Right.
Because ultimately we want to help the customer get the job done.
Well, and that's, if that machine's not running, that customer's not making any money.
No.
It's basically spits out money.
Yeah.
So.
And that's another thing that I really like about what we're doing here is our customers are really engaged, and they're really driving to make sure that the machine's running.
Right.
Because like you say, if the machine's not running, they're not making money.
Yeah, I mean, they've got guys standing around waiting for them to run panels off.
Yep.
Right. So
anything we can do to help them.
Yeah, and that's why we have our call queue and the service techs that we have on manning the phones is to try to keep all of our customers in working order, so they're making money. You know, they're not sitting there trying to wrench on this machine and not knowing what's going on. So, So how often have you used this? I mean, how many times can you swing this? Without stopping and having to breathe hard?
Like maybe once. So I have a hydraulic log splitter.
Do you?
That I use mostly.
This
is
wise.
more for just home entertainment.
I see. I see. So if you're going to put some shingles on your doghouse, you'd use this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if you're going to build a doghouse, you'd use that one.
Yeah. Building the doghouse, we do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have different tools for different
different things. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our engineering team, really proud of those guys. We have a great, diverse group. Adam's been here for 16 years. Mechanical engineer. He knows the history of a lot of the machines. Has worked with you, worked with Steve, and our field service guys. Adam's our best asset for the electrical aspect of the machine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we've got Brian Duff, his background is machining, designing equipment, designing parts and pieces, making those. He's got a really good background on our processes and our products themselves, so that, you know, he's doing a lot of work right now with our engineering changes as we're updating equipment and updating parts pieces. A new engineer that we just brought in is Alex. He's got a great background in systems as well as a mechanical engineering aspect. He was working with Ball.
Oh, so he was doing canning and stuff before.
Yeah, so you know, understanding the body makers and the systems around that.
Yeah, I mean, our service techs, you guys have a lot of input from those guys because they're actually out there with these guys, working on their machines and, you know, listening to what they need and what their needs, what their wants are. Do you guys also got a brand new program, I think, don't you? An engineering program for like doing tooling and whatnot that we've never had before.
Yeah, so getting into some of the details of the stresses that are put onto the panels. That's one of the things that we're going to be utilizing more to help us get to a more consistent machine.
I think that's going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a good job with it. We have in the past.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just going to enhance what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's something that's designed to actually program that stuff for you and make it easy for you. So hopefully it works well.
Yeah. It still is going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work, you know, from the resources that we have in the plants, the guys that are putting the machinery together, Steve Levaniak and those guys that are adjusting the machine, setting it up. That's really key to what our total success is.
So you guys in the engineering group have done some travel, gone around to, I mean, like you've been to the Mexico plant and you've been to job sites before, have you not?
Yep.
So you actually get to see how this stuff gets used and that kind of helps you, your thought process of what it takes to do that. Right?
Yeah, and that's key in understanding, you know, how our equipment's used, you know, because you don't want to design something like this if you're not going to be pulling nails.
Right.
Probably lean more towards your ball peen hammer, and none of these can do what a roofing hammer does.
Yeah. No.
So,
and I think that's very important for you guys to know, to have that knowledge, you know, to spend some time in the field. I know before, one of the engineers that we had, he and I went out in the Denver area quite a lot with new equipment, and we were, you know, putting it out there and getting it tested and spending a lot of time out there. So he really got acclimated to what was going on, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's real important. So.
Yeah, having that connection is key.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Patrick for joining me on this podcast. It was a great session here. Thanks a lot. Thank you, people, for joining us, and like us on all of social media. And we'll see you next time.
Rollforming with Ron.
Yes.
Yeah, you ready? We can do that together.
That sucked.
We can do that again. All right.
Ready?
Join us next time.
Join us next time on Rollforming with Ron.